Welcome, welcome. I have a live going on, as well as I'm in the studio on StreamYard tonight, and hopefully, people be notified that I'm on the live. But I'm gonna be here for a minute, so you'll get most of what we're doing this evening. Tonight is a very interesting night. I was talking to Stephanie Beard the other night, and we were talking about a very interesting topic about the narcissist, and it was a deep conversation we got into, but I also want to talk. It's a couple of things that I want to talk about, but that's one of the main things that I want to talk about, because we've all have dealt with a narcissist, male and female. And the interesting thing about it is that they operate completely different from one another. They operate completely different from one another, but the same results. They get the same results. The same results. They get the same results. But they manipulate different. They do things a lot different from one another. But first of all, I want to say how thankful and how grateful I am to be able to do this once again. It's always an honor and a privilege and a pleasure to be able to have this platform and to be able to speak into people's lives, and hopefully something that's said along the way will help encourage and motivate the individual that hears what I have to say. We know how this thing goes. We know how, to get down, if you will. And we're going to do it to the best of our ability. As Bashir says, he says, act on your highest passion every moment that you can to the best of your ability, taking it as far as you can until you can take it no further, with zero insistence or assumption as to what the outcome ought to be. In other words, you attach yourself to what it is that you desire and that you have a passion for, but you detach yourself from the outcome or the logistics of how it's going to work out. Sounds like an oxymoron, right? But that's how you manifest things into your life. You got to be almost like, crazy with the passion, because the passion is what allows you to move in the face of obstruction, in the face of things that will, obstacles that will, try to dissuade you from what it is that you're trying to accomplish. And you cannot avoid those type of things. You cannot avoid the obstacles that come up in your life. They're going to come up. They're going to come up some kind of way, because they're there for a special reason. And it's for you to become more expanded, for you to become stronger, for you to learn and know who you really are at the very level of your being. You get to find out who you are. And then after a while, it becomes an adventure. Life is an adventure. Life is for the living. Life is for those that know and understand who they are, that know their purpose. This is the main thing. And you're never too old, to find out more about yourself. There's always something that you can learn about yourself. There's always another way that you can become more expanded, And I always love to say this every day. I am one with the infinite mind of God, and the abundance of the universe flows freely to me. I release every thought of lack, or limitation. And I affirm that I'm whole, perfect, and complete. I'm a unique expression of the infinite. And everything I need for my success is within me. And you have to know that that's what it is. Everything that you need for your success is not outside of you. It's in you. You are powerful. You are great. You are talented. There are things that you have right now. You're not missing anything. And when you start thinking that you're missing something, that's when the mentality of lack and scarcity overtakes you. But know that you have it all. You just have to reach down deep inside and find it. It's there. It's there. It's there for you, waiting for you to tap in. Tap in. Tap inside. Stop looking outside of yourself and looking for outside help for the things that you already have, that's already in your innate being. It's there. So, we have always had, obstacles, things that come up in your life that you don't prefer. But I guarantee you, I stopped by to tell you, and I guarantee you that those things that come into your life that you don't prefer, they always are there for a very specific reason, for your best interest. Believe that or not. For your best. Because all things work together for your good, for your eternal good. All things, no matter what it looks like. But it's up to you to find the definition of what it is. That, it can just, something can happen. And you take that incident, that event that happens, and don't be shocked by it. Observe it and find out what it is in that event, in that circumstance, that you can extract from it that will make you a better individual. Oh, it's there. You may not be able to see it right off, but it's there. But get in the habit of looking for the good in all the things that come up in your life. Look for the good, and have the abundant mindset. I talk about this all the time. Abundance is more than just money. When you limit yourself to money being abundant, you limit the universe from being able to give you access to all it has to offer. You have a whole lot of things that you can, attach yourself to when you know that the abundance of the universe flows freely to you. It doesn't have to always be money. It could be favor. It could be something that someone gives you. It could be a phone call. You don't have to have, just money as a part of your abundance. But you have access to the abundance of the universe. That's why when you stay in a constant state of gratitude, being thankful, man. I'm always thankful for everything that comes up in my life. I'm serious. I find a way to be happy because I'm alive. I find a way to be happy because of everything that I have access to, everything that is within me, everything that I have, everything that I've been blessed with. I'm thankful for that. I'm grateful for that. And when you have this attitude of gratitude, being thankful, you just open up doors for more things to come into your life. They will. But one of the things that happens, you are chosen for something great. You are chosen to do something in this world that can't nobody else do but you. I'm going to say that again. You are chosen to do something in this world that can't nobody else do it but you. Specifically, the way you do it. Because can't nobody beat you being you. That's why authenticity is such a powerful way of being. being authentically who you are, being you. And when people are authentically who they are, you make people uncomfortable. People get uncomfortable around people that are real. That's keeping it real, being authentically who you are. And people that are authentically who they are don't care about what people say about them or what people think about them. And that's not being in a grandiose way, or, they don't care. You don't care about the other opinions of people because you already have, you already defined who you are as a person. You know who you are. You don't worry about the opinions of other people. Learn to not worry about the opinions of other people. It doesn't matter. You have a vision. You have a dream. You have something that you need to do in this thing we call life, which is an illusion. We'll talk about that later. But you have a vision. You have a baby that needs to be birthed, that only you can bring it into fruition. But you have to remove the obstacles out of your way. And you have to, it's the belief systems, the limiting beliefs that have been engraved into our mind that keeps us paralyzed and we don't move. Sometimes you just don't move because people are comfortable not moving on something. You have to show action. You have to have action. You have to move in a direction. And I guarantee you, if you put one foot in front of the other, you will be divinely guided to the right place at the right time, to the right person, in unexpected ways, by from unexpected sources. That will happen for you. But you're going to find yourself spending time alone. Well, not alone, but by yourself. Let's put it that way. Because you're never alone. But you're going to spend time alone. I'll say alone. Because you need to get in touch with who you are. Meditation is important. Quiet time is important. And as you find yourself developing and growing, you have this insatiable desire to look deeper into the things that life has to offer. You no longer want to have frivolous conversations anymore. You don't want to hang out with the guys like you used to. You don't want to do the same things that you used to do, because you know that the heaviness in your heart is so profound that you have to do this. You have to bring this baby into existence. So spending time alone and finding out who you are and looking at who you are on the dark side, because it's a dark side. Yes, it is. But that dark side is what makes you completely whole. And you look at it, you face it, and don't be afraid of it. Never 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 be afraid of that side, because that's who you are. Embrace it. Say, come on, come on. Embrace that side. Allow yourself to see it head on. And whatever it is that needs to be fixed, fix it. Because you no longer are, you're not that same person anymore. You're not the same person you were yesterday or last year. You have changed. You have evolved. That's why you're so uncomfortable, because you're not the same person. You don't like doing the same things anymore. You want to do, you have changed. You have evolved. And so what it is you need to make a decision to let go of the limiting beliefs. Let go of the people, places, and things that serve that don't serve your highest good. That don't serve your highest good. And once you let those people, places, and things go, you feel lighter. You know, I spend a lot of time by myself, a lot of time by myself, because I'm on a mission. I'm on a mission. And I know it's an inner knowing that you know that it's going to work. I have no doubt in my mind that it's not going to work. It's going to work. You know, I don't know the logistics of it. I don't know how. I don't know when it's going to break out, but I know for a fact that it is. And it's going to exceed my most vivid imagination. That's how you got to think. And you got to be that. It's not just having the intention of what it is that you desire, but you have to be that. You have to be on that same frequency of what you desire. You have to be on that same frequency of what it is that you desire. You have to vibrate on that frequency. You have to become that before you can even have it into your physical reality. Become it. They say fake it till you make it. Do that. Oh yeah, do that, because you're not faking. What we've done is we've lost our ability. We've stopped using one of the best gifts that God has given us, and that's our imagination. We used to do it when we were young. Our imagination, one of the greatest gifts we ever had, to pretend, to imagine. And one thing that you need to do is use that imagination to create and manifest the things that you desire in your life. Eat, drink, and sleep it. Have it on your mind. Meditate on it. Walk, sing it. Make a song out of it. Do a mantra with it. But you have to become it. And when you say certain things, you have to think about what you think about, because thoughts are vibrations. And when you think, what you think you are, you become. And so you have to start paying attention to how you're thinking and what you're thinking about. Negative thoughts gonna come up. Yeah, they are. They don't have to be who you are. If it comes up, examine it. Look at it and say, nah, that's not me. That's not who I am. That's not what I'm about. And kick it to the curb. Just like that. You don't have to have that thought in your mind and nurture that thought and make it something that you become. So that's why affirmations are important. Saying things over and over, practicing saying, positive affirmations about who you are, saying things about the things that you desire as though they are already done, as though it's already completed. That's what you do. For instance, I am the first millionaire of the family, but not the last. I'm so happy and grateful to have multiple sources of income. I get paid to exist. My existence pays for itself. Every dollar I spend comes back to me multiplied. Abundance is all I know. You can write, and it's a Nikola Tesla. It's the 369 motive thing that you do, right? You write it 3 times in the morning, 6 times in the afternoon, and 9 times in the evening. Or you can say it 3 times in the morning, 6 times in the afternoon, or 9 times in the evening. And what it does is it gets deep down into your subconscious mind, because your subconscious mind is what creates your reality. That's what creates your reality, your subconscious mind. Not your conscious mind, your subconscious mind. The things that you get up and you do without even thinking about it. You get up in the morning, you brush your teeth, you wash your face, you take a shower. Those things have been, a habit is when the body becomes the mind. And so you do that for a minimum of 21 days. I did it for 30 days. And what happened was it took me to a whole nother level. It changed my life. It changed my life. And you can write them, you can, say them, but you have to say the things as like they're already complete. It's already done. You don't have to, it's done. And say it over and over. And it's something about repetition. Saying it out loud, speaking it, looking into the mirror while you're saying it. That is very powerful to the subconscious mind. To the subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is the creator of your reality. It's the creator of your reality. That's why when you wake up in the morning, say something positive about your day. Think something positive about your day. Before you go to bed at night, say something positive. Think something positive. Meditate, pray on something positive before you go to bed, because then you're going to bed and you get into that dream state, which is when you really are getting into a very creative state. Because when you dream, that's when a lot of things happen. But in the morning, and it takes discipline. It takes practice. You have to practice this thing. You have to practice this thing. You want to become everything you desire. You want to be loved. You want to have love in your life. Be loving. You want kind people in your life. Be kind. You want abundance in your life. Be abundant. Don't be, I don't have enough. Where am I going to get this from? You already have it. And it's there in the quantum field waiting for you right now. You just have to match that vibration. Hold your head up high. Walk tall. Be strong. I don't care if it ain't no money in your bank account. Act like it's there already. Act like it's there already. And know that you have the abundance, you have access to the abundance of the universe. You have access. Just like these rappers. They say, words are powerful. Tupac, Biggie, they words are powerful. They spoke their lives, they spoke their death. They spoke, all of that stuff into existence. That's why you have to be careful what you say, because life and death is in the power of the tongue. And then there are things that have been said to you over time. Maybe when you were a kid, some things were said to you, that were not so kind, that were mean. Things had happened over time. I had a situation happen to me where, I lost my parents at a very early age, and it affected me. We didn't have counseling then. We didn't do counseling. So I never got an opportunity to talk about it, to deal with what was really going on in my head, to deal with what was really going on in my heart. I lost my mother, my father, and my grandmother, which were the central, they were my nucleus of my family. They were the ones that kept me, encouraged, and that sheltered me, that nurtured me. And they ended up being non-existent. They died. They passed away. And I always had the thought when it came to relationships that if I got close to somebody, that they would end up leaving me or I would lose them. And sometimes I would end up sabotaging myself in relationships, not knowing, subconsciously sabotaging. Because in my mind, I didn't think it was going to last because of what had happened to me in my past. But I moved on and I grew and I learned from that experience. They were gifts and they're still with me right to this day. They're not dead. They're still alive in my heart, in my mind, in my soul. You know, they're my spirit guides. They're with me now. I didn't know that back then, but I know that now. But I went through a lot of hardship and a lot of trials trying to get over that incident that happened to me, because it was something that I just couldn't understand, because it happened to me at a very early age. But it was one of the best things that could have ever happened to me, because I had them for the time that I had them, and they were good to me, and I was good to them. They knew I loved them. I knew they loved me, and they served the purpose for what they were supposed to serve with me. And then it was time for them to move on to something else. And so that's what happened. They moved on to something else. And I had to move on to something else. Another experience. And it wasn't easy, but I made it. And it taught me that I can still love deeply. I can still have my heart open, no matter what. No matter if a person is, you know, some people, they get hurt in relationships and they stop, you know, they close themselves off because they've been hurt in past relationships. And you prevent yourself from receiving what you should receive. And all relationships are not supposed to last. You extract and take everything that was in that relationship that was good. Look at everything that happened in the relationship that was good for you. And I guarantee you'll find out that all things work together for your eternal good, for the best. You know, and even if the person hurts you, send them off with a blessing and move on. And move on. And ask yourself, what did you learn from that relationship? I was blessed to have the parents that I had, you know, that really did love me, that really did care for me, that really did nurture me and teach me good sound, gave me good sound information that could last me a lifetime. My father, he always gave me good sound information. And it wasn't nothing that was, you know, he didn't tell me to treat women any old kind of way. He told me to respect women. He told me to, you know, be respectful and to do the best I can to be the best man I could become. You know, he knew he didn't have that much time to be here with me. He was much older when I was born, but he gave me everything that he had while he was here. Everything. He gave me everything. And for that, I'm grateful for. For that, I was blessed to have. I was blessed to have the parents that I had. I was blessed to have the grandmother that I had. That was my nanny. You know, we didn't have, you know, nannies like they, you know, that was my daycare. Before I went to school, I stayed with my grandmother every day. And so that was my daycare. And you know, yeah, you're gonna miss them in this physical reality. You're gonna miss those people, but know that they're with you. They're still with you because they're your ancestors, and the same blood that, you know, runs through your veins, you know, ran through their veins. They're with you, you know, and even if they're not your ancestors, there are people. I had a lady that we met well after my mother had passed. I called her Nana, and Nana was somebody that was with me from day one. When we met, we connected. It was a spiritual connection that had happened with her, and she adopted me as her son, and I adopted her as my mom. And it was a very treasured relationship, a very respectful relationship, a very real relationship, you know? So I had the opportunity to have two mothers in this lifetime. Not many people have that opportunity, but I did. And it was a wonderful experience, a very wonderful experience. With everything that's happening in the world today, a lot of confusion is happening. A lot of things are happening. And so we need to be balanced. We need to be balanced. We need to set some standards, set some boundaries, because this is a time where everything is in an upward. Things are changing swiftly. Life is filled with swift transition. And things are happening in the world that got a lot of people afraid. But when you're in the gap, in the vortex, you know, in that place where you are in the eye of the storm, if you will, everything's going crazy all around you, but you're calm because you know that you're all right, that you're going to be all right, no matter what happens. That's the way I feel. And that's the way you should feel. Don't worry about what's going on. Don't worry about all of the things that's happening in the world, because you're going to be all right. But you have to set yourself up to win. And I talk about meditation. That's important, to know thyself, to know who you are, to find out, get away and find out who you are. And once you start finding out who you are, you'll realize how powerful a being you really are. You'll find out how powerful you really are. And because that's what society, religion, and powers that be don't want you to know how powerful that you really are. You are the creator of your reality. You are the writer, director, and producer of this life's journey. And anytime that something happens that you don't want to happen, or that you don't like in this thing we call life, you can change it right now. You can change it right now. Right now. You can stop, rewrite the script, and do what it is that you really desire, and then make it turn out the way you want it to happen. But you got to know that you can. You got to know that you can. And you can. All you have to do is decide. Decide that you want to change. Decide that you want this, you want to tap into this power that's within you. Search yourself. Search your heart. Dig in. And there's nothing that nobody can tell you. Nothing can stop you. No one will be able to stop you or prevent you from moving in the direction that you're supposed to be moving in. Nothing. I don't care what it is. Synchronistically, things will happen and come into your life no matter what obstacles are there. Well, I don't have that many followers on social media. That's all right. Something will happen to work out things in your favor that will open doors that no man can see. There will be avenues. There will be favor shown upon you. But you have to embrace who you are at the level of your being, and embrace the difficulty, embrace the unknown. A lot of people are afraid of the unknown because it's unknown, but the unknown has never did anything. It's just uncharted waters. Get excited about it. Get excited about what the unknown. Get excited, about what's on the other side of that unknown territory. And I guarantee you'll find that on the other side of that unknown territory is where you find more of who you really are. and the power that you have within. I say this all the time. Stop looking outside of yourself. Stop looking outside of yourself. Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. It's already in you. You have the power. You have the power. The God within you. You know, anytime you separate yourself from that power, that divine energy, that's not good. I'm going to go, and I only got a little bit of time left. I'm going to talk about this the narcissist, the narcissistic man and the narcissistic woman. I'm going to share a little bit about this because I'm sure that everybody has had the opportunity to deal with a narcissistic individual. Everybody. I have. You might have had a narcissistic father, narcissistic mother. And I'm gonna put in my disclosure. I'm in no way a psychotherapist, but I ran across this information while surfing the net, and I thought it was pretty interesting, and it resonated with me, and it can possibly resonate with you. And you know, pretty soon we will get, you know, professionals on the show to talk about these type of things. But I wanted to share this with you. The presentation of a narcissistic man. First of all, he's bold, grandiose, and dominating. He brags openly about power, success, or status. The narcissistic woman. She's subtle, covert. She has a covert image. And she's subtle, covert, and she's image conscious. She appears sweet, but thrives on attention and control. Now, this is something that they're both narcissistic, but they operate with different styles of manipulation. Now, the manipulation style, you might have ran across this. The narcissistic man, he's aggression, gaslighting, love bombing. He uses charm, intimidation, or silence as weapons. I ran across that. The manipulation style of a narcissistic woman. Guilt trips, playing the victim, emotional blackmail, master of the poor me narrative. That's something, huh? Wow. Control tactic. See, you gotta realize that one thing about narcissistic people, it's all about them having full control over you. They're gonna be the type of individual to find a way to control and manipulate to where they have control to manipulate you at will. And you have to understand that you got to understand these tactics that they use to control and manipulate you. Now, the control tactics of a narcissistic man: financial domination. He sets rigid rules and he isolates through force. The narcissistic woman: emotional blackmail and triangulation. She uses children, friends, or family to manipulate. That's her control tactic. And if you notice that the narcissistic man, he'll take his money and he'll use his money or his ability to control with his money to set rules. And, he'll isolate you, by cutting you off or, saying that he won't do this for you if you do that. If you don't, comply with what he wants done. The narcissistic woman, she's good at emotional blackmail. And she uses her children, friends, or family to manipulate. She's slick. She's slick. She makes you think that she's the sweetest thing on earth, that she wouldn't hurt a fly. And she'll tell them something about you, to manipulate the relationship or turn people against you, to manipulate her way to get her way with you. That's what they do. Social image. The narcissistic man, he wants to be admired as the alpha and provider. He flaunts money, cars, status, and status symbols. He flaunts money, cars, and status symbols. And one thing about it, it's all right to be a man. It's all right to be an alpha man. But a real alpha don't need no validation to be admired. A real alpha just does what he does, just because he knows that's the thing to do. And a real alpha don't need to flaunt his money, cars, and status symbols. When people do that, especially men, that's a form of insecurity from the jump. Because just because you got it don't mean you have to flaunt it. And just because when you have certain things, when you're more than that. You got if you're just limited to money, cars, and status symbols, then you're very poor. That's not wealth. Wealth is what's generated from the inside. True wealth, is what's generated on the inside. The value is from the inside of how you treat people. Do you treat people with, respect and love and compassion? Things of that nature. Love and compassion. Ruling, you lead by example, not by force. The narcissistic woman. I'm going to come back to this because I'm going to be rocking this for a minute because a lot of people, a lot of people are dealing with this, have dealt with this, and that narcissistic man or woman that was in your life, all they did was set you up for limiting beliefs that you have right now to this day. Yeah. Right now to this day. It damaged you. It hurt you. And they're hurt because hurt people always hurt people. The narcissistic woman, the social image, this is the image that they portray. She needs to be seen as the perfect wife or mother. She's obsessed with appearances, online praise, and envy. That's a sign of insecurity. Because one thing about it, when you need to be seen as the perfect wife or the perfect mother, who are you doing it for? You should just do what you do because you know it needs to be done. If you're obsessed with appearances unlike praise and envy, that means you need to be validated by somebody else, by somebody else's opinion. You care about what people say about you or how they see you. And that right there is a big mistake. I don't give a darn about what people think about me or how they see me. I don't, because I know who I am and I know what I'm about and I know my heart. And when you know what you're about and you know what your heart is about, words, people, opinions, they don't mean nothing. They can't say nothing to you because that's not who you are. If somebody call you a green frog, it ain't gonna bother you because you know you're not a green frog. So the narcissistic woman needs to be seen as a perfect wife or woman, and she's obsessed with her appearances, unlike praise and envy. She's obsessed with that. The narcissistic man, his image, he wants to be admired as the alpha or the provider. You always got to tell him he's doing good. Oh, you're great, you know. And he flaunts his money, his cars, and his status symbol. And he always has to have somebody around him telling him how wonderful he is. Isn't that something? That's crazy. That's insecurity. That's insecurity. But you got to understand, something happened to that narcissistic woman, to that narcissistic man, when they were a child, that made them become who they are to this day. Victimhood. This is another one. Victimhood. The narcissistic man rarely claims victimhood. He blames others without appearing weak. That's what they do. He's never the victim, but he blames others when a mistake is made. He could be involved with the same project. You can work with him on the same project. And if something goes wrong, he'll blame you. But he won't take the blame himself. He'll find a way to blame you about something that you did or something that you didn't do. Narcissistic man. A narcissistic woman, her victimhood, she constantly plays the victim. She gains sympathy to escape accountability. Now you see how the narcissistic man and the narcissistic woman, they operate in totally two different ways to manipulate to get the same outcome of what they desire. And what they desire is they want to manipulate you into manipulate your behavior to match what it is that they desire from you. That's what they want. So she's gonna find a way to make you feel sorry for her, feel bad for her. You know, even if she makes a outright straight up boo-boo, she knows she did wrong. But she'll find a way to make you feel sorry for her to escape the accountability. Isn't that something? You know somebody like that? It's somebody you know like that. I do. I ran into them. They won't take accountability for their own actions. That's what narcissistic people do. They don't take accountability. They don't want to be accountable for any mistakes, anything that they do that is not up to standard, because they're so wrapped up in their appearance. They're so wrapped up in what people think of them that they can't take a fall. They can't say I was wrong. They can't apologize. They can't say I messed up. They have to put it on somebody else. Here's another one. Cheating and loyalty. The narcissistic man. He brags about conquest and justifies infidelity. And he blames partners for driving him to it. So he blames the partner that he cheated on for being the reason that he cheated. The narcissistic woman, when it comes to cheating and loyalty, she keeps affairs secret, but paints herself as emotionally neglected and uses infidelity as a form of revenge. Do you see the contrast? I thought that was very interesting. The contrast is such a big contrast between the narcissistic man and the narcissistic woman, but at the same time, the manipulation still gets the same outcome because they never want to take responsibility for what it is that they do that's wrong. They never want to take responsibility. Competition and rivalry. This is the difference between a narcissistic man and a narcissistic woman. Now, a narcissistic man competes with other men or dominates their partner. That's what he does. I've seen it happen. He calls himself an alpha, but he don't feel right unless he feel like he competing and dominates his partner. A narcissistic woman, when it comes to competition and rivalry, is jealous of other women, including daughters or friends. Now, I ran into that before. Trust me, I ran into that before. I was with a woman where her mama was jealous of her. Literally jealous of her own daughter. That was crazy. But that's the narcissistic woman. When it comes to competition and rivalry, the narcissistic man competes with other men or dominates their partner. When it comes to competition and rivalry, the narcissistic woman is jealous of other women, including daughters or friends. The narcissistic woman can't get along with other women. The narcissistic man, he can get along with men as long as they're yes men, as long as they're somebody that agrees with him all the time, you know. And a narcissistic man usually has to be the one in control of his environment. He's a control freak. I've been around them. I know what they look like. That's why I thought this was pretty interesting. It was pretty interesting to me because I've seen this before. It has been something that I have experienced in my life before. And as I said, once again, it's something that happened to them when they were children, when they were young, when they were coming up, that created this beast. Because it's a beast to be a narcissist. You know, and what it is they're hurt. It's almost like they're damaged goods that won't heal, that don't want to heal because of their ego. The ego won't let them heal because they don't think they need to be fixed. So they never seek counseling because they think that they don't need anybody to talk to them. That there's nobody that can talk to them about their problem because they don't have a problem. But everybody can seek wise counseling. There's always somebody that can talk to you, especially when it's a professional. to help you deal with a situation that has happened to you in your life. It's okay to get counsel. It's okay to talk to somebody. It's okay to say, this hurts. I was hurt, when I was 12 years old. This man, my father, my mother said this to me, or this happened to me when I was a child. And when you say these things, when you allow yourself to open up, and you'll find that you're not by yourself. Things have happened to a lot of people, but they overcame them because they went and sought wise counsel. They went and got help for it. They didn't just allow. It's like putting a Band-Aid over a gunshot wound. It won't work. You can't. Some things you have to have wise counsel. And if you're wise and you're smart and you allow yourself to open up to your higher self, your higher mind, you'll discover the importance of having a mentor, of having somebody that you can talk to about your personal life, that you can trust, that won't go out into the world and talk about it to other people, that sincerely have your best interests at heart. Let me I got one more. We almost ready to wrap it up. Parenting style. The narcissistic man. This is the parenting style of a narcissistic man. He uses children as trophies to show off success or loyalty. A narcissistic woman. She uses children as emotional hostages, or many versions of herself. Oh man. And I know that somebody, man, who hears it, it's had to have happened. You've had to run into this somewhere in your life, because I know I have. I ran into that. I ran into people that use their children as trophies, to where they vicariously live through them, and if they can't live through them, they don't want to have nothing to do with them. They don't want to have nothing to do with them. I've seen it happen with my own eyes. And they say narcissistic women uses children as emotional hostages. The mother that makes her child feel obligated in ways that they don't need to feel obligated, and keep them and hold their children hostage. But we're going to stop right there, because we only got a minute left, on this show, and we're going to get out of here. Gina Butterfly, come on out in the room and say goodbye to the people. I want to thank you guys for joining in on the live. Like, comment, and share. We're going to be coming back next week, and we're going to talk about something else. But always remember that we're going to be here. Hey, Gina, come here.
I'm right here. I want to thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you next week. I love you guys. Stay safe.
Take care of yourself. Peace and blessings. I wish you the best. I wish you a successful week. And always remember, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that me, USC, I truly do love you, my friends. Take care. We'll see you next week.